Hello, good day. And now we come to the second of the lectures as regards the UNCCD process. The first lecture discussed two things: the global level process, the process at the global level, and the decision-making process. Now we turn to the process at the sub-regional and regional levels, at the national level as well, and we look at the new, what I call the new paradigm in terms of the UNCCD process. So let's first deal with the sub-regional and regional processes. Well, as you know, there are 5 annexes to the convention, and in each of these annexes, they cover a particular geographical area. So for example, Annex 1 covers Africa. But in Africa, there are different sub-regions. So you have West Africa, you have South Africa, you have North Africa, and you have East Africa. And you also have Central Africa, right? And all of these sub-regions, they come together and they work together to sort of try to implement the convention at their sub-regional level. And the first thing they actually do is usually they would have a meeting. So all the focal points from, say, let's say Southern Africa, the SADC region, would come together, they have a meeting, and they decide to work on a sub-regional action plan, which is a plan for the implementation of the convention in SADC. Okay? So what you have is a meeting, they have regular meetings, right, of all the focal points and sometimes of the science and technology correspondent, and they come up with general views, positions, which are then reflected in what is called a sub-regional action program. So they have this sub-regional action program, but outside of that, they have to implement this program. That is part of the process. And whatever they have done over the period is then put into a sub-regional report. Just like how you have a national report, you have a sub-regional report, and this, of course, is submitted, as you know, to the CRIC, and the CRIC reviews it, right, and then make conclusions and recommendations as to how this sub-regional action plan could be further implemented. Now, outside of the sub-region, as I've said, you have the annex which covers the entire region. So let's look at, for example, Annex 2 covers Asia, right, and the Pacific, which is the entire region. And in the same way as you have sub-regional action programs, you have regional action programs. And the process is basically the same, meaning that they meet together, they have a regional meeting, and they come up with common positions, and therefore have common conclusions and common recommendations, and they set up what is called a regional action program. This is an action program that allows for the implementation of the convention at the broad regional level, okay? And so they do this implementation. At some point in time, they make a report, and that report is submitted to the CRIC. Again, the CRIC makes conclusions and recommendations on these reports. In other words, the CRIC study it and then come up with its own view as to how things are going, okay? Those are regional reports. And all of this goes into the process of regional implementation, or the broader issue of not just implementing, but everything else. In other words, the entire regional process. Okay? Now, there's something very important here to understand. That in each region, we have what are called RCUs, which are regional coordination units. And these regional coordination units are supposed to assist in the development and implementation of the regional processes, the regional action program, the regional meetings, the regional reports. So for example, our regional office in Africa is located in Morocco. Our regional office for Latin America and the Caribbean is located in Chile, in Santiago de Chile. But these are offices of the Secretariat at the regional level, which helps with the regional process, as I have explained. So what you do have here now is the process operating beyond the global level down to the regional and sub-regional levels, okay? And that is realized through, first and foremost, the regional action programs. Now, but as I have established earlier in an earlier lecture, land is owned, generally speaking, by a state. And so what is really important to the UNCCD is the national level. And this is what we want to discuss now, the process at the national level. Now, UNCCD is quite different from many other conventions in one fundamental way. We believe in a bottom-up approach, meaning that it comes from the people themselves. The process is driven from the bottom up, not top down, but bottom up. And so therefore, at the national level, what really happens is that the process operates locally, meaning in your own local community, be this a village, be this, a broader than a village, a broader community. It operates at the municipal level, which is, some countries have these divisions, and at the national level, right? Fundamental in all of this is that the government must drive the process. Even though it's a bottom-up approach to the whole process, the government is responsible. The reason why? Because this is a convention of governments. It's a convention of parties. It is governments that have agreed and taken on the responsibility to implement this convention. So the whole process is driven by the governments. But as I said, you have the local, the municipal, and the national level all tied into this national level process. And the key person who is supposed to oversee all of this and support all of this is the national focal point. Each party must appoint a national focal point, and his fundamental responsibility is first and foremost to interact with the Secretariat as regards his or her country in terms of the implementation, but also to oversee what is happening and support, facilitate what is happening at the national level. Now, as I've said to you before, the fundamental thing about the national process is this, that implementation takes place at different levels there. It must be participatory, but outside of that, there must be a report, because it's based on the report, then the process goes forward. So what happens is this at the national level. You have the national focal point working with everybody else, the CSOs, the NGOs, and so on and so forth, right, for the implementation, and ultimately a report is prepared which goes to the CRIC. The CRIC considers it, makes conclusions and recommendations. There are some other things that is important about the national level. One of these is that in many countries, it's not just what happens nationally, but they have a relation with international partners. So it might be the GEF, it might be the Green Climate Fund, it might be the World Bank, but they have, or the UNDP or UNEP, but they have cooperations with these people as well. So apart from the national input, you have inputs from their partners at the international level. And all of this drives the national process, okay? So what we need to understand here is that the national process is the fundamental process. And something else, which is important, the NAP, the National Action Program, is what drives the SRAP, the Sub-Regional Action Program, and the RAP, the Regional Action Program. So in other words, this is truly a bottom-up approach, because from the national process, everything goes upwards till it finally comes to the COP and a decision is made. Apart from that, there is what I would like to discuss with you, which is called the new paradigm of the UNCCD. As you know, in 2015, the United Nations General Assembly adopted the 17 Sustainable Development Goals, Agenda 2030. And one of these goals is Goal 15, which deals with terrestrial or land issues, And there is one target there, 15.3, which deals with land degradation neutrality. As you might know, or you will know now, at COP12, the parties agreed that the UNCCD must be custodian of land degradation neutrality. So what you see in here now is that the UNCCD process has broadened. And now, apart from just dealing with land degradation, it has to deal with the question of land degradation neutrality, and it's supposed to assist all the countries of the world in doing this. This therefore gives it even a more global nature, and this is where the world is going now, achieving land degradation neutrality. And in our efforts to do this, what we have set up is what is called a target setting program, where we assist countries in trying to achieve land degradation neutrality. So this, in a nutshell, is the broader process. You should read the reading materials. You can always call us or drop us a line if you have any questions. We are at your service. I do hope that you will have tremendous success in taking this course. Thank you. I am Richard Byron Cox.